The next story I'd like to cover with you guys comes from Ben Swann's truthandmedia.com. European scientists split over glyphosate cancer claims. Now, this one is interesting to me because I keep up with the news on pesticide. There's a pesticide whistleblower you guys have heard me do videos about in the past, and if not, then look out theconsciousresistance.com and you'll see that report. And, I'm interested in genetically modified foods. I'm interested in food sustainability, pesticides, looking for healthier methods to do things than chemically laden materials that we have become accustomed to using. But what's interesting about this aspect is that you had the World Health Organization's Cancer Research Center say that glyphosate probably causes cancer in humans. And this was in March 2015. The World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer published a report in the Lancet Oncology, found that there was limited evidence of carcinogenity in humans for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and this evidence was pulled from studies of exposure to the chemical in US, Canada, and Sweden published since 2001. The researchers also found convincing evidence that glyphosate can also cause cancer in laboratory animals. And the report from the World Health Organization also noted that the United States' own EPA had originally classified glyphosate as possibly carcinogenic to humans in 1985. So, wow, like 30 years ago. But the science is all not, it's not all black and white, and this is where it gets interesting as well. In response to that World Health Organization claim, one of the European Union's bodies agreed with the findings, but the executive director of the European Food Safety Authority, which is responsible for advising the European Union on food safety and things like that, the head of that agency basically said he doesn't support the World Health Organization study. He issued an official opinion in November 2015 stating glyphosate is unlikely to pose a carcinogenic hazard to humans and the evidence does not support classification with regard to its carcinogenic potential. And after Bernard R. Earl, the executive director of European Food Safety Authority, after he released that statement, a number of different scientists responded, and it says 96 academics from around the world signed an open letter to the European Health Commissioner dated November 27th, urging European Union authorities to ignore the European watchdog's opinion. So you have the battle of science here. European Food Safety Authority, one of many bureaucracies in the EU, says, you know what, we don't agree with this World Health Organization study. And then 96 other academics and scientists from around the EU write a letter to the European Health Commissioner, a different bureaucracy, and say, hey, we're urging you and the European Commission to disregard the flawed EFSA finding on glyphosate in your formulation of glyphosate health and environmental policy for Europe. And this letter was written originally by Christopher Portier of the non-government organization, the Environmental Defense Fund. He was a specialist consulted as part of the original WHO study on glyphosate. His letter called for, quote, transparent, open, and credible review of the scientific literature. And on Wednesday, Bernard Earl of the European Food Safety Authority responded to the letter saying, I strongly disagree with your contention that EFSA has not applied open and objective criteria to its assessment. And who knows what's going to happen here. But the interesting details is that if the European Union's 28 members decide to yield to the EFSA's opinion, it could lead to the overturning of the ban on glyphosate because the European Union has had a ban for quite some time now. And this is one of the interesting things when you start to look into these areas of research is you find that the United States basically ignores what the rest of the world says as far as science goes. The rest of the world can have a product banned, and that doesn't necessarily mean the science is right, but it's just interesting to note how the rest of the world will note this is a dangerous product. This should not be used, or we're going to put a label on this. And the United States will usually say, no, we're going to go our own way. We don't care about your science. So it seems like that's what's happening in the European Union. And when I posted this, or when this was posted on Ben Swann's Truth and Media page, I did see an interesting comment. Someone said, well, the scientists are split between the ones who've been bought off and the ones who are actually doing science. So I don't know, interesting stuff. Do your homework, read the link, and see what you think about it.